Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we have some super simple, fun projects. We are going to be playing with some different texture and waxes, building some pillar candlesticks, and also finishing up a custom paint request. If this is the kind of thing you're into, go ahead and give me a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button and the bell next to it so you don't miss any new videos. Project 1, we are going to be making our own pillar candle risers. These are out of an old table. The chunky pillars were the legs. Now I'm going to be cutting off the parts I don't need with my circular saw. Make sure you are being careful and wearing your protective equipment. Once all of my pillars are cut to size, I take them upstairs. Using my On F30 and DIY White Swan, I'm going to give 3 out of the 4 a nice thick coat of paint. You can see how great this coverage is. A DIY paint is super pigmented and thick, so I'm doing about 1.5 coats. I will be distressing these. The Klingon brush makes easy work of these curves, and these brushes are even easier to clean. Now to darken up some of the thrifted wooden pieces that I got a few weeks ago, this is Sweet Pickins Dark BeesWax. It is a great option over milk paint, over DIY paint, but also over your raw wood. You can see how it really richens up this beautiful wood. It's all natural, it smells great, and it gives a beautiful patina. For the other wooden pieces, I'm using DIY Dark and Decrepit. This is a multi-use product. Sometimes if you're having a hard time getting it open, you can use 2 pieces of this drawer liner and it really helps. So this multi-use product can be used as a transfer gel, a decoupage medium, but also a self-sealing stain like I'm using today. This is 1 coat, it darkens the wood up beautifully, and I do end up doing 2 coats. I let it dry for about 20 minutes in between. Back downstairs to sand. I've got 220 grit sandpaper here on my orbital sander. I'm hitting around the edges on these painted pillars. And I will seal them up with a little bit of Rust-Oleum clear matte enamel. You can find the pumpkins and this Rust-Oleum spray on my Amazon shop in the links down below. Everything is in one spot in easy to shop categories. I applied some Loctite Express wood glue on the bottom of my pillar. I am now placing my wood pieces on top and securing them with my pneumatic nail gun. I didn't have a match for this wood piece, so I'm going to be using an old metal lamp base that I have taken everything else off of, all the guts and wiring. I placed a wood round on top of that, glued it down tight, and I also stained it with Dark and Decrepit. Making pilot holes in my pillar and through my base, I will then screw it on using a washer and a wood screw. And y'all, I cannot believe it. Not once, but twice, you have sold me out of spindles. I cut up 6 more pieces of furniture and got all of this beautiful salvaged wood loaded to my collection. Salvaged wood and metal. So if y'all want to make any of your own projects, you can pick these up or grab one of the finished projects as well. I will link this first thing in the description box below. And a better look at the final pillar sticks. I love the way these turned out. What about y'all? I have these priced individually, but they would make a great set. The taller one is $28.95 and the shorter one is $18.95. And the last style here. Also, y'all were asking about the concrete pumpkins and this pumpkin basket. They are listed over in the Fall at the Cottage collection for you as well. Now this pumpkin tote is already purchased. It was plain thrifted from the Salvation Army for $1. I cut one of my spindles down to size and screwed it in to place. I made pilot holes in my spindles first to make this job a little bit easier. I'll be painting this box in DIY Farm Fresh. I thought these light colored pumpkins would accent it beautifully. And again, if you haven't grabbed a Lazy Susan yet, get one. It makes life so much easier. Be the first time I'm using my brand new Jamie Ray Vintage Fall Word Pack. I've got DIY layered chocolate and a number 24 stencil brush. Super exciting news. Tomorrow on Friday, the stencil brushes will be here. They are the new style in the smaller size. They are available right now for pre-order on my website, but I will be shipping them out before I leave for California on September 6th, 2021. These stencils are super thick, made for people who resell so they can be used over and over again, but it makes them super easy to stencil with too. I am using a very dry brush, so I just use a little bit of paint and then offload most of that paint onto my drop cloth. Then I'm coming in here with a stippling motion, making sure I'm pouncing straight up and down over the stencil. A little 220 grit sandpaper here along the edges just for some distressing. Now to seal it up, I've got DIY clear wax. I've taken a little bit out of my container so I don't contaminate my big container full. Now notice this Farm Fresh paint really lightened up when it dried, and now when I go to seal it, it's getting dark again. Don't freak out, that's called the wax freak out factor. Make sure you apply it in long, even strokes, let it dry for 24 hours, and it will lighten back up and even out if it looks a little uneven at first. So your final color will dry somewhere between the wet and the dry Farm Fresh colors you see here. I thought the stems of the pumpkins looked a little too plastic, so I took some clear wax and some DIY Decrepit dust in the color white, and I'm going over the stems to give them a little bit more dimension and depth. This wax will dry completely hard, so it will stay on these stems for good. I love the way this little custom tote turned out. Now, I know a lot of y'all build your own totes, and I would love to see them. I've got a creative group over on Facebook. I will link it down below, and y'all can drop your projects with pictures. I love to see those. Now I want to show you a little bit of paint texture and wax without boring you too much. I have done some other videos like this before, and I will link one right here in the cards above. I'm using DIY paint and baking soda to create a faux concrete texture. This is DIY Summer Crush, and it's a beautiful deep orange. I mix my paint about 50-50 paint to baking soda, and I'm going over these Dollar Tree pumpkins and owls. The pumpkins are from last year, and the owls are from this year. Once I got started, I always get carried away, so I did a couple other colors and waxes as well, and I'm just going to show you the final product and tell you which colors and waxes that I used. All these pumpkins and owls are available to purchase as well. DIY Summer Crush and Dark Wax. This light orange is a mix of Summer Crush and White Swan. Here's the color with white wax and dark wax. These foam pumpkins have white wax on the left, dark wax on the right over Summer Crush. These cute owls got the concrete paint with little black dress and baking soda. On the left, you see the making powder and Violicious, golden rule wax in the middle, and white wax on the right. Who is your favorite? Leave me a comment below. Here is Summer Crush with dark wax, the combo of Summer Crush White Swan with white wax, and last but not least, these little pumpkins actually came from the Dollar Tree. I only found 5. I painted the stems black with white wax, and all 5 are on my site. I hope y'all loved today's projects. Again, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I will see y'all next time. Bye, friends. Oh, where is it? Oh my goodness. This is taking Mom all day. Jeez, Mom. What? I'm awake.